There are two approaches you can take to your nutrition: simple or specific. The simple approach is to choose which path or end of the spectrum you want to follow and focus on hitting a minimum daily protein goal. For women, this goal is 100 grams of protein per day. For men, it's 130 grams. Outside of that, your focus is to eat the foods from the list and prioritize your protein intake, and eat until you feel satisfied at each meal. We're not going to concern ourselves with calories, carbs, or fats. Just eat along the spectrum. As a rule of thumb, if a food is not on the list, it doesn't cross your lips. The only exception to this rule are foods derived from foods on the list. For example, beef sticks and beef jerky are made from beef, so they get the thumbs up. Tzatziki is a dip made from Greek yogurt. What you need to be mindful of is whether or not any foods like these are made with or mixed with things you are trying to avoid, so read the labels. But if you're looking for different breads, keto snacks, gluten-free this and that, they're not on the list, and for a reason. And that is, they are not food. They are food products. Food product swaps keep you snacking in circles and stuck. Bottom line, a gluten-free cake is still cake. In taking the specific approach, we're picking a path, then we're dialing in your daily protein and setting smart calorie, carb, and fat targets to maximize results. It can take about a week to get it right, but once it's set, you'll see faster, steadier progress because the numbers match your metabolism. It also makes future tweaks to your plan a lot easier and more predictable. Some of you will start with the simple approach, and after you get more settled into your eating, after a few weeks, you might want to move to a more specific approach. Others might start with the specific approach, but after you reach your goal or feel really solid with your nutrition, move to a simple, more sustainable approach. So let's get into setting your nutrition targets. I'm going to walk you through the steps to making your body a fat-burning machine, have all-day energy, and maxing out your muscle tone and strength. Sound good? It all starts with having an idea of how much energy you expend in a day. Or another way of looking at it is, how much energy do you need in a day? Once we know how much energy we need, then we can determine how much of it should be protein, carbs, and fats. All of this requires a lot of math. But I'm assuming you did not come here to do nutrition math. I'm assuming you're here because your goal is to strip away unwanted body fat, tone up or build muscle, and increase strength, right? The good news for you is that we built a calculator that will give you pure physique-specific nutrition targets based on your age, height, current weight, gender, goals, and the nutrition path that you want to follow. Just plug in your stats and you're done. If you want to see how your targets change based on different nutrition paths or goals, you can easily toggle back and forth to determine what feels right for you. Remember, even if you mix in a few foods from another column, you still need to pick a lane just for these calculations. As I mentioned, I'm 95% carnivore, about 5% animal-based. So I run my numbers as carnivore. But if I ever decide to lean more heavily towards animal-based, I can easily see how that changes my macronutrient distribution. So I want you to pause this right now and go to our Pure Physique macro calculator. You can find it at purephysique.com/macro calculator, all one word. When you come back, we'll talk about what your numbers mean and what to do. We're back. Or maybe you didn't leave and you're still here. Either way, I want to make 2 points that apply across all 3 paths, then break down the differences between how each path affects your food choices so that you can hit your targets. So, point number 1, do not drop your calories below the fat loss recommendation in an effort to lose fat faster. You won't. Instead, you'll be risking muscle loss and lowering your metabolic rate, making it harder to lose fat over the long run and increasing the likelihood that you will regain fat quickly if you go off plan. I already know that some of you are not going to listen to me and think you can outsmart your body, and then wonder why you're stuck and not seeing results even though you're trying really hard and feel like you're doing everything right. Do yourself a favor and play the long game, despite how badly you want to be leaner by tomorrow, because the goal isn't just to lose the weight, it's to keep it off. So take my advice or ignore it. But now you know, what'll happen if you do. Second point, if your protein target feels out of reach, don't sweat it. Most of us have been under eating protein for years, so it feels high at first, and that's normal. You don't fix a decade or several of them overnight. You build the skill. The first step is to prioritize protein. Start by making it the centerpiece of every meal. Pick simple, high-quality sources you like. Steak, ground beef, chicken thighs, eggs, salmon, shrimp. Keep 2 to 3 of them on repeat. Think protein first, and then everything else supports. Your second step is to increase protein gradually. Once you're in the protein first habit, just inch it up. Add an extra egg. Make the burger patty a double. Swap 4 ounces of steak or chicken for 6 to 8 ounces. Toss in a protein shake when you're slammed. The goal is steady progress, not perfection. Hit a little higher this week than last, and keep stacking those easy wins. All right, the big finale. Let's bring it home and tie a bow on it. If you're the curious type who needed to see what your targets would be if you went with a different path than the one you chose, you would have noticed protein didn't change. Protein runs the show. It's the Archimedes lever. It's the 80-20 rule. It changes everything. Hit protein consistently and you impact fat loss, muscle tone, hormone balance, hunger, cravings, sleep quality, mental clarity, and energy. The most successful fat loss diets ever researched had one commonality. They were all high in protein. But most interesting was that it did not matter if the diet was low fat and high carb or low carb and high fat, as long as protein was high. When any of these diets were low in protein, they were not effective in helping people lose fat and maintain lean muscle. If you've done a low carb or low fat diet in the past and were not successful, a lack of protein is likely the reason why. Okay, as you move from carnivore to animal-based to flexible, complexity rises. The reason is simple. The more variety you add, the more precise you must be to stay close to your targets. Fewer moving parts means easier execution. More options demand tighter management. The carnivore play, as we know, is the simplest to run. Just build your meals around full-fat proteins, whole eggs, steaks like ribeye, porterhouse, and brisket, ground beef, sausage, bacon, pork, chicken thighs, and wings, and you naturally land near a 1-to-1 ratio of protein to fat. By focusing on your protein target, the fat target generally lands perfectly. Although on a true carnivore diet, carbs are near zero, we allow for 5% of calories from carbs for small add-ins. Cream in your coffee or tea, cheese on your burger or taco bowl, or the occasional cottage cheese or plain Greek yogurt. In spirit, carnivore is the closest to our simple approach. Just one focus, and the rest tends to align. Animal-based adds a little more variety without too much complexity. You still prioritize full-fat proteins, but you will need to mix in some lower-fat options as well, since we are adding in carbs from fruit, dairy, and a touch of honey. You'll have to pay a bit more attention to portions, but because the food list is still tight, most people find consistency within 1 or 2 weeks. Just be aware not to let carbs creep too high and start crowding out protein. Keep protein first, then place carbs and fats around it. Flexible mirrors how most people eat already, and that's exactly why it's the most complex. With a wide variety of food choices, you need to be very intentional about what you have and in what amounts. To hit a high protein target while keeping fat low and carbs high, you'll have to lean hard on chicken breast, tuna, whitefish, egg whites, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, and maybe a quality protein powder. These are the stereotypical diet foods, and they often need some dressing up to be palatable and enjoyable. Getting flexible right simply demands more planning, creativity, and work. If you're up to the challenge, then go for it. You can make great progress. If not, I'd suggest going animal-based, but just include carbs and fats from the flexible column. Regardless of the path that you choose, don't chase perfection, chase progress. You got this.